Hello everyone, welcome to BBS Academy. In today's topic, we are uh, discussing about the demographic transition theory. Okay, so demographic transition theory is a general model describing the evolution of the levels of fertility and mortality over time. If we see demographic transition theory was propounded by several scholars in different time with different stages. Okay, so W.S. Thompson in 1929 propounded the demographic transition model. After that, Frank W. Notestein in 1945 explaining it in different stages. Okay, so in demographic transition theory, there is three basic hypotheses for the transition of demography. Okay, so first is the decline in mortality comes before the decline in fertility, and second is the fertility eventually declines to match mortality, and third is the social and economic transformation of the society takes place simultaneously with the demographic transformation. These are the basic three hypotheses of this demographic transition theory. Okay, so if we see the stages of this demographic transition model, basically different scholar in different times in describing it in different stages. Okay, so if we consider W.S. Thompson in 1929, explain it with in three stages. Okay, first is the pre-transition period, second is the transition period, and third is the post-transition period. Okay, and F. W. Notestein in 1945 explain it in three stages. These are the high growth rate stage and decreasing growth rate stage and population decreases. This is the three stages given by Notestein. Okay, and Carl Sachs and Tuarth are given it in four stage. Okay, these are the high stationary stage. Second is the early expanding stage. Third is the late expanding stage, and fourth is the low stationary stage. Okay, and C.P. Blaker explaining is demographic engineering in five stages. These are high stationary stage, early expanding stage, late expanding stage, low stationary stage, and declining stage. C.P. Pilker added a new stage in the declining stage. Okay. This is the basic stages of this demographic transition model given by different scholar in different time. Okay. If we see the graphical representation of demographic transition model, this is the graphical representation where horizontal axis represent the time or the different stages of different time period, and the vertical axis represent the birth and death per thousand. Okay, if we see the first stage of high stationary, here the population growth is below or low level. Okay, and the death rate is very much high and birth rate also high. But in the case of high stationary, here the death rate is fluctuating. Okay, and if we see the early expanding stage or the second stage, here the birth rate is very much high, but the death rate is continuously declining. Okay, and the due to the declining death rate, here the population growth is increasing. Okay, and the third stage, late expanding stage, we see that the death rate is low and the birth rate also declining, and here the population growth also growing, but in low. Okay, but if we see the last or low stationary stage, here the birth rate is fluctuating or low, and death rate is also low, and the population growth is steady type. Okay, this is the basic characteristics of demographic transition model, and this is the graphical representation of demographic transition model. If we see the theoretical background or theoretical characteristics of these stages, these are basically first stage or the high stationary stage explain the um, both high birth rate and high death rate. Okay, the birth rate is like 35 per 1000. Okay, and due to the high birth rate and high death rate in this stage, the population is stationary and the population stay in the low level. Okay, and the if we see the death rate is in this stage are fluctuates. Okay, death rate are fluctuating. Okay, and the population often stable are slowly growing in this stage, and people are given the characteristics of the people are in the stages primary. They are engaged in the primary activities. Okay, like agriculture, fishery. Okay, And if we see the other characteristics of the population, there the population density is the low or moderate type, and the productivity level of the stage are very much low, and the peoples are highly or lots of people are illiterate here. Urban development are very slow in this type. Okay, basically here the rural families are stay in this high stationary stage. Okay, if we see why the birth rate is very much high, basically the in this stage the family planning, no birth control, high infant mortality. Okay, large families consider and the children are the asset of this family. Okay, these are the basic characteristics of our high stationary stage or first stage of demographic transition. Okay, so if we see the next stage is the early expanding stage. Okay, early expanding stage characterized by a high birth rate but declining death rate. Okay, due to the declining death rate here, the population growth is rapid. Okay, due to the declining death rate, the death rate declines from 35 to 20 per 1000. Okay, so that's why the population growth is very much high or rapid. Okay, if we see the why the fall in the death rate, this is because of the improved medical care like vaccination, hospitals, doctors, new drugs, etc. And improved in sanitation and drinking water. Okay, improved food production, both quality and quantity. These are the reason because of the death rate is slow down or declining. Okay, and if we see the example like Uganda, Tanzania, Ghana, Iran, Morocco, Bangladesh, these are the example of the early expanding stage. Okay, basically here is the stage, the early expanding stage. This is the early expanding stage. Okay, the birth rate is high but declining in death rate. Okay, this is the basic characteristics. If we see the next stage like a late expanding stage, here the birth rate is declining and death rate is low. Okay, due to the declining birth rate, here population growth is not very much. Okay, population growth is slow growth rate here. Okay, the decrease in birth rate in the late expanding stage can be attributed several factors like the most important is the shift in people's attitude towards children. This is the in pre-industrial period, farmers view children as an asset of the family because they help in farm and often can support their parents in the old age. Okay, but in industrialized zone or industrialized sector, their children become the economic liability, not the family asset. Okay, this is because the birth rate is declining and death rate is also low in this stage. Okay, and if we see the example like Egypt, South Africa, India, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Indonesia, these are the example of this are late expanding stage. Okay, and if we see the low stationary stage characterized by the low birth rate like 16 per 1000 and low death rate like 12 per 1000. Okay, due to the low birth rate and low death rate, here the population growth is very much steady. Okay, and here the population are very much industrialized and urbanized population are lived in these stages. Okay, basically highly developed countries like Western Europe, USA, Russia, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Singapore, and are considered to be the example of this low stationary stages. Okay, if we see the last stage or declining stage, in the declining stage, the birth rate is consistently lower than the death rate. Okay, and the population become shrink and the fertility rates fall below the replacement level. This is the characteristics of a declining stage and the factors contributing to the declining of the population. These are increase in access to the contraception or rising education and career opportunities for women and societal shift in the attitudes towards the family size and child bearing. Okay, this is the basic characteristics, and if we consider the country like Japan, Italy, South Korea, Germany are the example of this declining stage. Okay, so these are the basic characteristics or basic stages of our demographic transition model. Okay, this is all about our demographic transition model. If you found this video is helpful to you, please like, share, and for further updates, please subscribe our channel. Okay, thank you.